Hello, I'm Master Blue from Taekwondo Culture Network. In this video, I will tell you some historical truths about Taekwondo and Taekkyon. They are historical information and martial arts information and some common misunderstanding about Taekkyon and Taekwondo and so on. More than anything else, I will talk these things with the raw materials based on facts. First, let me take a look at the most reliable materials among those that inform us about old Taekkyon. They are all about Taekkyon in 18th and 19th century in Choseon period. Let me list them by their times. The first is a report in Jaemulbo written by Im Han-young. It was written in 1798, written in Chinese letters. The contents is Subak is Byeon and Gangnyeok is martial art. It is like the current Taekkyon, according to an interpretation. The second is Dae Kwae Do by Yu Suk. The picture was drawn in 1846. The third is Korea of 100 years ago in pictures, Modern Korea. It was written by Kim Won-mo and Jung Sung-gil in 1986. In this book, you can see a picture in page 240 and it is the picture number 401. The picture itself was taken in 1890 and shows children's Taekkyon play. The first is a book written by Stuart Cullen. Its title is Korean Games with notes on the corresponding games of China and Japan, and was written in 1895. The fifth is Hae Dong Juk Ji by Chae Young-yeon in 1925. Now then, I will analyze the four of them except the first one. The first is only a single line sentence, so I cannot find something to discuss more. The first is Dae Kwae Do by Yu Suk. It was drawn in 1846. Its drawing shows the vivid culture of Choseon period, including both serum and Taekkyon. Particularly, the figure of Taekkyon is said to be similar to that of current Taekkyon, which can be suspicious. I will talk about this soon. Dae Kwae Do is merely one of folk drawings, but many researchers of Korean martial arts pay a big attention to this, since we cannot find many other materials about Taekkyon than Dae Kwae Do. There are definitely no opposition to that. This figure shows what Taekkyon was like. The second is Korea of 100 years ago in pictures, Modern Korea. In this book, you can see a picture that shows playing Taekkyon like this. This picture was taken in 1890, so you can believe this shows Taekkyon of 45 years later compared by Dae Kwae Do. Here, let me point something that has never been told yet. In this picture, two players keep their feet attached, but players' feet are separated in Dae Kwae Do. This is an important difference. You cannot kick your opponent with your foot attached with his. There is almost no one who kicks his opponent in this position of 2 feet attached, and anyone else can try actual attack of kick with their foot attached like this. In this condition, if he is not pushed back, it will be impossible for you to kick him. Therefore, we can conclude here that Dae Kwae Do shows actual motion of Taekkyon, while this picture shows a static pose before actual competition. I think you will say same thing according to our common sense. It is obvious he could not take a picture of a quick dynamic motion like a kick with that old technology. To the contrary, it is possible to draw a dynamic motion with memory. The third is a report about Taekkyon written in Korean Games. This was written in 1895. Its English text is like the following. Taekkyon is a combat between two players, chiefly with the feet. They take their positions with their feet apart, facing each other, and each endeavors to kick the other's foot from under him. A player may take one step backward with either foot to a third place. His feet therefore always stand in one of three positions. One leads with a kick at one of his opponent's legs. He moves that leg back and kicks in turn. A high kick is permitted and is caught with the hands. The object is to throw the opponent. Of the text, the last sentence, the object is to throw the opponent, means not the object of the whole Taekkyon game, but the object of catching the kick with hands. If throwing the opponent is the object of the entire game of Taekkyon, it will turn to be a serum. It cannot be a combat between two players chiefly with the feet, as is written in the beginning. The first is a report in Hae Dong Juk Ji. This was written in 1925. It was when Korea was conquered by Japan. The content is, we have a kick technique since all time in folk. Players face and kick to knock down each other with this technique, and we have three levels of it. The first level is to kick their legs, and the next level is to kick their shoulders. And the best level is a flying kick, which is to kick and break the top of head. Some of us revenge themselves sometimes, and others make bet with their lovers. Government prohibited this technique, so we cannot find it easily now. It is called Taekkyon. This is its original text. Let me summarize the traits of Taekkyon in Choseon period. They are following. The first is that its main part was kicks. It focused on kicks. Both of Korean games and Hae Dong Juk Ji talk about kicks. According to them, we can see it has various kicks and its focus was more on kicks than hand techniques. You cannot see any comment about punching or something else. They also kick legs, but they try to kick higher parts like shoulders and head. The second is that throwing was auxiliary technique. Some of current Taekkyon systems stress throwing techniques, but let me emphasize, if they focus on throwings, the techniques get similar to serum, which is Korean wrestling. As you can see in the video, if you fall down with kicks, then you will grab and try to throw him all the way. Taekkyon coexisted with serum, so we can conclude Taekkyon was different from it, otherwise they couldn't coexisted. It means the main part of Taekkyon was kicks. Some Taekkyon people stress throwings because they want to differentiate their Taekkyon from Taekwondo. They make this intended differentiation for Taekwondo includes most kicks of Taekkyon and firmly established, and their Taekkyon needs to have unique features to appeal to people. This is why they stress throwings, but then it becomes like serum. So it gives them a very difficult dilemma. It means the true Taekkyon is in Taekwondo already. The third is that this trait of Taekkyon is very unique in the world martial arts history. Taekkyon is so familiar to Korean people because it was a folk martial arts that Korean people believe every martial arts has kicks naturally. But just as Korean language, which is familiar to Koreans, is very unique to foreigners, Taekkyon or Taekwondo, which has various kicks, was a very unique martial arts to the world. The Taekkyon kicks, which were kicking high targets in various angles, could be found neither in original Japanese martial arts nor in Okinawa karate. This fact can be easily checked with a simple investigation, but remember, you should not see materials that Japanese martial artists suggest as theirs, but take a look at the materials about them before 1960. You cannot find a martial art in China either, which concentrates in kicks more than hands. It is true that Chinese martial arts have some kicks, but they are auxiliary to hand techniques so that they kick quite rarely. And Chinese kicks don't fold their knees before kick, unlike Taekkyon or Taekwondo. Summing up these facts, you can see the followings about Taekwondo and Taekkyon. To say conclusion first, current Taekwondo is more same as the old Taekkyon than the current Taekkyon. Okay, let me try to hold more for now. But still I can say that both current Taekwondo and Taekkyon succeed the old Taekkyon, but a little different way. Why? If you take a look at the kicks of Taekwondo and Taekkyon today, you cannot see big difference. Taekkyon has throwings, but it seems it was not important in original Taekkyon. And Taekwondo has pumse, but it is not an important part of Taekwondo identity. The current Taekkyon tries to differentiate itself from Taekwondo in several ways. They go on this differentiation because Taekkyon is not much different from Taekwondo. They have been trying it quite much, but still they are similar. And in addition, Taekwondo is more famous. And they got another problem. The more they try differentiation, the further their Taekkyon gets from the old Taekkyon. Let me make up for this opinion, for there can be some people who suspect that Taekwondo is very same as the old Taekkyon. Look at the Dae Kwae Do again. Try careful observation of this picture. Watching this scene, haven't you ever thought, for what do they make this pose of their arms open in this fight? How can they make a fight with this posture? Taekkyon is a martial art, isn't it? A possible answer is, it is a ready pose of Taekkyon. In the current Taekkyon, they make a ready pose to open their arms and face each other. But this is not plausible answer. Dae Kwae Do is a drawing of key part of Korean folk, and every part of it draws dynamic motion of people. Even the audience who are sitting show dynamic posture in this drawing. So the posture of Taekkyon must be a dynamic one too, of actual competition. It is implausible he drew a static pose before actual fight. Look at the posture of Serum, which has a similar cultural position in this drawing. And you can see that it is not a scene of ready posture before actual competition, but of actual dynamic motion that compete each other. Their feet posture prove it. They are all dynamic. Therefore, we cannot but think Taekkyon is same. Put yourself in the position of the drawer and imagine you are drawing Taekkyon or Taekwondo or whatever. Would you draw ready poses before actual fight or actual dynamic posture which are representative of the martial art? I believe the latter, actual fighting posture, or are same with Dae Kwae Do. A problem is that you fall in suspicion, asking, is this a real fighting posture? We have a best answer nearby us to this question. Take a look at the following. 서로 다치지 않도록 최대한 해봐. 다치지 않도록.
한 대 맞고 한 대 때리겠어. 나의 차이가 더 빠른데. 10초.
Let me explain what you watched just now. When and where? It was 2006 and Seoul National University Taekwondo Club Dojang. The competitioners were one from Taekwondo department of a university and the other Portuguese national Taekwondo competitioner. Portuguese Taekwondo people visited Korea for Taekwondo training at that time, and they were in Seoul National University Dojang on that day. By chance, they tried competition for training of foreign visitors. This scene shows you the following. The first important fact is that it was not an intended demonstration but a natural competition. By the way, you can see the most same posture of Taekkyon in it. I mean, the very posture in Dae Kwae Do. One of them is this. The next, I think it is also important that a foreign Taekwondo man show this posture too. It means everyone that learns Taekwondo makes that posture of Dae Kwae Do for sparring. And the most important thing is this. We all have been watching this posture all the way in Taekwondo competition. Not only Seoul National University Taekwondo player or Portuguese competitioner make this posture, but also every Taekwondo people in the world make this posture of Dae Kwae Do, which is Taekkyon posture, when they compete. By the way, some Taekwondo people criticize this posture since they had prejudice from boxing or similar martial arts. We have heard these critics for a long time. I remember I've heard it by myself for more than 20 years. I mean, from 1980s to 2000s. What does this mean? Yes, it means every Taekwondo people made this posture. Why? Naturally. Taekwondo technique generated this posture. I believe this is true Taekwondo and true Taekkyon. Taekwondo techniques made this posture, and it implies Taekwondo techniques are overall same as Taekkyon. For Taekkyon also made this posture naturally. To the contrary, current Taekkyon tries one of the following two positions. They intend to succeed the old Taekkyon by making their posture as a ready pose. But as soon as they begin competition, they cannot keep their posture all the way. Sometimes they do 활개짓, which means fluttering, but 활개짓 has never been said in old records. It seems the Taekkyon style from Songdeok-gi solely has this posture. And if you try Taekkyon, you'll see you don't need that motion or posture technically. Maybe my observation of 30 years can miss some important parts, so please you watch Taekkyon carefully and research related materials if you are interested, and if possible, try to learn Taekkyon by yourself and check if my explanation is correct. Therefore, I cannot but consider Taekwondo is closest to the true figure of all Taekkyon, and it is actual Taekkyon which is available now. Now let me talk about the truth and actuality of the current Taekkyon. Generally speaking, there are many doubtful things in what you are learning as Taekkyon now. The first clear truth is that we have only authorized Taekkyon master. He is Jung Kyung-hwa. He is an authorized human cultural asset of Korea. Of course, his students will be historically justified Taekkyon master too. Talking about another Taekkyon masters, I cannot say here if they have good power martial arts, but I can say we need to verify how they learned Taekkyon in the past. I trained some Taekkyon and investigated most Taekkyon styles in Korea for several decades, and now I can say that most of current Taekkyon masters have no clear history of their training. Some of them learned Taekkyon from an old master, but it was for only 2 or 3 years. Whichever martial art you may learn, you cannot get all in 2 or 3 years. I know some of them haven't learned it from others but made their own Taekkyon. In my guess, they must have learned Taekwondo in their past. Let me confess, it is just my guess, but you can check if it is true with this critical perspective. Taekkyon is a folk martial art, so you can believe that some people can learn it in several routes out of special Taekkyon dojang or academy. Then, I believe, those routes must include Taekwondo dojangs. Actually, these techniques of current Taekkyon are all from modern Taekwondo. In reality, it is impossible to find someone who has never learned Taekwondo among martial artists in Korea. You may not agree with me, then you are supposed to investigate their personal history if you want better truth. As was expected, the actual figures of current Taekkyon are all the same as Taekwondo. If you can pick out one difference, it will be throwing techniques. In this discussion, please exclude demonstrations of Taekkyon for your exact judgment. Otherwise, you can get definite misunderstanding. Demonstration of Taekkyon is much different from their actuality. Demonstration generates fantasy. Much of them is not real. For example, this is Taekkyon demonstration. and its actuality is this. Please examine the actual competition and training of Taekkyon before your judgment. Do you want to know truth of Taekkyon? Then watch not its demonstration but its actuality. Summing up these contents leads to the following conclusions. It seems very true that both of Taekwondo and Taekkyon came from the old Taekkyon of Choseon period. I discussed the detailed facts about its inheritance in another video. Regardless of them, suppose you have the same martial art as Taekkyon, then no matter whether its name is Taekwondo or Karate or whatever, it is historically Taekkyon. On the other hand, the current Taekkyon has the same name as the old Taekkyon, but Taekwondo is a little different in its name, so it causes many misunderstandings. Those Taekkyons are all different, and if you exclude Taekkyon of Master Jung, there is no reason to argue that any of them has more historical authority than any other martial art. If any of them can have some historical authority, you can say that Taekwondo has a more historical authority from Taekkyon than them. In this situation, Taekwondo is firmly established both in Korea and in the world, and the current Taekkyon are trying to compete it as a different martial art. So they go on transforming themselves over and over again to be a new kind which has no historical foundation. Of course, you can also put into consideration that Pumse, which is the display part of Taekwondo, provides some excuses of misunderstanding in history discussion. But summing up all the recognizable facts, it is most reasonable that Kyorugi and demonstration of Taekwondo came from Taekkyon. So, Taekwondo is chiefly from Taekkyon. So far, I told you a first summary about the history of Taekwondo and Taekkyon. I hope all of you also reflect them logically and carefully, step by step, for the more exact history of martial arts. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and click like. Thanks.